This is the spirit that guides our work.
The Bush Center is warm and welcoming. Built on the campus of SMU, my alma mater, we invite visitors through our doors to attend public programming that attracts newsmakers and thought leaders for important conversations around the issues we care most about.
The Bush Center is an institution for learning where we educate students, the public, and lawmakers in the duties and responsibilities necessary to maintain free society.
When you walk into the Bush Institute, you'll see a quote from my presidency on the wall that summarizes the principles we're committed to. It is important that we continue to defend these beliefs.
The principles for which President and Mrs. Bush stand, compassion, freedom, opportunity, and accountability, don't belong to just them. They belong to all of us. They're American principles.
Through the work of the George W. Bush Institute, we aspire to show the world America's best. One way we do that is by bringing people together to find solutions that bridge ideology, nationality, and creed. We focus on ensuring opportunity for everyone. We believe that all Americans should have a chance to succeed. That means a quality education and an economy that rewards innovation and replaces poverty with prosperity. We work to advance free societies around the world. Freedom brings responsibility, including a respect for human rights and the rule of law. Ultimately, free societies and free people are the world's best hope for peace and stability. For example, we've screened millions of women in sub-Saharan Africa for cervical cancer. We're working with veterans to get them into high-quality mental health care across the country. We have also developed best-in-class analysis on how to get great leaders in schools nationwide.
The Bush Center plays a critical role in bringing people and ideas to SMU. It's a destination for people who want to have conversations, debates, and think about how to leave the world a better place.
The Bush Center is excited to be on the dynamic SMU campus, where our work is energized by faculty and students asking fundamental questions in pursuit of knowledge.
My hope is that the Bush Center will always serve as a place where timeless principles are celebrated, protected, and promoted. We've had a great start. Now we must make sure our mission endures for generations to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Vice President of Finance and Operations and Treasurer at the George W. Bush Presidential Center, Brian Kosovu.
Thank you and good evening, friends, and welcome to the Bush Center. I hope, like me, you all are excited to really get into the holiday spirit tonight. Yes? Okay, perfect. One of the hallmarks of the holiday season is gratitude. And so with that, we'd like to express our gratitude to our friends at Next Point for their support of the Bush Center. That support allows us to bring thoughtful and engaging programs like this one to our community throughout the year. We're also very grateful that Mrs. Bush is with us tonight. Thank you for being here. And lastly, we're grateful to a very special group that's with us tonight, and those are our dedicated holiday volunteers, Cindy, Fred, Susie, Kathy, and Lisa. We're so glad you could join us tonight. They pour their time, creativity, and care into decorating the Bush Center for the holidays. They've transformed our spaces into festive and welcoming setting, reminiscent of the White House as it looked in 2004 with a theme Mrs. Bush selected, which was a season of merriment and melody. Let's thank them again for all their hard work.
Welcome. Thank you, Mrs. Bush, for hosting this really fun holiday kickoff for all of us, but also a mini reunion right here on stage. So fun. So thanks for joining us as we walk through down memory lane. Yeah. Brian told them a little bit, but do you each want to just talk just briefly about your specific roles at the White House, specifically with the holidays?
Sure, I'll start. Again, my name is Sara Armstrong, and I started in Mrs. Bush's office in the visitor's office, and we produced all the public events at the White House. So the holiday open house tours was part of my role, and then eventually went back up to her second floor staff and became her deputy chief of staff. So there I worked on the holiday card every year and helped oversee the team that put on the rest of the events.
And I'm Dori Thornton-Waller, and actually Sara hired me into the visitor's office shortly after the inauguration in 2005, and from there I worked in legislative affairs doing events, and then deputy social secretary. So worked in the social office at the White House, and we were responsible for all of the parties, all of the events at the White House during the holidays.
And I'm Susan Whitson. I served as Mrs. Bush's press secretary in the first part of the second term. And so I always say that even though I was only there for 2 holidays, it's a little bit like dog years, so it felt like and I call them very good years. But it was a wonderful experience because what we did, and I worked very closely with these ladies in their departments because they provided all the news that we could put out about whether it was the card or the artists, the volunteers. We also, a big part of my job during that time was to oversee the HGTV filming, which was put out, and then talk a little bit more about this. We did lots of media interviews with Mrs. Bush. She would introduce all of, kind of unveil all of the incredible decorations. And then we were also very involved with Barney Cam, which we'll talk more about.
Okay, so let's jump into it because there's a lot of holidays to cover. and not that much time. So
Yeah.
we'll jump right in. It is not lost on us that Thanksgiving is a week from Thursday, and we're kicking off the holidays. But Thanksgiving really did kick off the holidays at the White House, and that would start with the very important pardoning of the turkeys. I think we might.
I thank the American people for the tremendous privilege of serving as the president. Recent weeks I've talked a lot about sprinting to the finish. Yet I've assured these turkeys they will not be trotting to their finish. That's because in keeping with the long-standing tradition, pumpkin and pecan are hereby granted a full and unconditional presidential pardon. I wish all Americans a happy Thanksgiving, and may God bless you.
Now, Dori, those turkeys were VIPs.
VIPs.
They got the full treatment.
Yes, they did. And actually part of the process of the turkey pardoning was that the turkeys had to be worn out prior to coming out. And that Barney and Beasley, who I believe in years prior to me being there, might have gotten out and chased the turkeys. I did not witness that, so we always had to know where Barney and Beasley were. They had to be locked in the residence for as soon as the turkeys were on White House grounds. And the turkey pardoning really kicked off the holiday season. It was usually the Tuesday or so before Thanksgiving. And one year I actually had the great opportunity to ride in a motorcade with the turkeys to Reagan Airport because I had an emergency happen at home the morning before the event. And I said, well, I can't leave until the turkeys are pardoned. We have to do this event. So the turkeys were getting a motorcade to go to Disney World to the Grand Marshals in the parade. And I just hopped in with my little carry-on bag right with the turkeys, and I made my flight. So I think took off an hour after the event ended. Made it no problem.
It's perfect. We could have done a press release on that.
Right? So with that, Christmas started. So I think it's really important to note as we walk through all of the things that went on both inside and outside the White House, it all happened because President and Mrs. Bush cared so much about it. And it wasn't just a party or just a reason to gather people, but really it was a time to say thank you and to get as many people into the White House as we possibly could. And so we're joking about Thanksgiving, but we actually kicked off Christmas right after the Easter egg roll when we start thinking about the themes. And so it's a serious business at the White House.
It was hard to think about Christmas at Easter, but
yeah,
we really did.
But you had to.
Yes.
Tell us about that process, Sara.
Absolutely. The beginning of the process was in the spring because you have to begin thinking about the number of trees and the theme and the decorations, and Mrs. Bush was very much involved in that entire process, and she wanted it to represent the different things that she cared about. I remember the first one was Home for the Holidays. And what was really special about that one was right after September 11th. And thinking about that Home for the Holidays was really unique in that it had that really sentiment about the importance of family and friends after that period of time. But she also had different themes around books. A Season of Stories was one, as a matter of fact. She had a theme around the national parks, which she cared very deeply about. So working with Mrs. Bush was such a great joy because she cared so deeply about every detail. Of course, working with our amazing florists on the staff of the residence, and they were so creative and thought through a lot of the different exhibits that took place. So it was a very long process of all the details that went in and made it so special.
Over the period of the holidays, the schedule was just enormous, both with events that President and Mrs. Bush would host and would participate in, but also just getting as many people as we could through the White House for the tours. We would have tens of thousands of people come through that. And the schedule, if you all feel stressed at the holidays, this should make you feel better. Because I don't think your calendar looks like this. But ours did, and Mrs. Bush and President Bush's did as well. And I think an important thing to note on that calendar is that President and Mrs. Bush also always made it a point to spend Christmas at Camp David, and they would not depart.
This is Chuck Gordon of your Texas Rangers, thanking you for visiting Game Changer United Play Sports. It is baseball time in Texas.
Change some of the stuff out. Bring new things in.
Jesse Owens, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Love knows not its own limits until the hour of calling. The loved ones we remember today knew, even in those horrible moments, that they were not truly alone because you're loved.
it somewhere different.
We believe in the timeless truth. To whom much is given, much is required.
The cornerstone of the Bush administration was the belief that America is a generous nation with a moral responsibility